Netflix and chill with your instrument.
With your instrument,
yeah.
Like, I mean, it's kind of hard to do it if you're a horn player or a guitar player because you got, sound and stuff coming out that you need to
No, dude, it still works for a guitar because I can not plug in, but I'm still getting the technique. I can hear it just enough.
Yep.
Like I'm getting, yeah. So you out here. Fact.
Netflix and chill with your instrument.
Welcome back to another episode of the Music and Them podcast. We are out here.
What up, though?
What up, though? This is sponsored by the DrumTrax app. We're out here. I'm Legendarius. This is Sam God to my left. To your left. Woo! Do I need? Let me drink my green juice. Where's my green juice at? And this is Damani, the founder of DrumTrax app. To
y'all know what to do too, right? What they supposed to do, Darius?
Download the DrumTrax app right now. Are you practicing, bro? Hey. Practice.
I know you just took a break from practice to listen to the podcast and get some more.
You know
wisdom,
what? Real talk. One of the best ways that you can use your time while listening to this podcast or watching this podcast is to pull out your drum pad and do some type of workout while you're watching this. Matter of fact, that's one of the things that Somadi used to do back in the day. He used to turn on movies, and he had a whole pad workout that would be like an hour and a half of him working out his hands, sometimes 2 hours or whatever. And he would just watch a movie.
Yeah.
I used to
use
do
that next Netflix and chill time, multitask. Just grab your
Netflix
instrument.
and chill with your instrument.
With your instrument.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's kind of hard to do it if you're a horn player or a guitar player because you got, sound and stuff coming out that you need to
No, dude, it still works for a guitar because I can not plug in, but I'm still getting the technique. I can hear it just enough.
Yep.
Like I'm getting, yeah. So you out here. Facts.
So yeah, Netflix and chill with your instrument.
Yeah.
Real talk. Tip from the podcast so you guys know.
So today we're going to talk about social media influencers, the age of the influencer,
man,
and what it's about. You want to set up that clip that we were?
Well, okay. So I'm not going to play the clip because or can we play it? I haven't really dived into like what are the rules.
We'll get to that
on
later.
YouTube. We'll get to that another. But anyway, I saw a post on Instagram. It was a guy, and he was talking about how we're in the age of social media influencers that can get a following based on, in his opinion, some extreme, whether it be chops, the way you set up your drums, doing something to get attention. And getting that attention and then being backed up by the industry with endorsements and other things of companies that lift you up because you're now popular. And we know that the currency of the internet is attention. And so if you get a lot of attention, then you will get corporate sponsors because they want the attention that you're garnering for their business. And that's the way endorsements and other things like that work. And so then it solidifies you on the internet as an influencer. But does that push the art form forward, being that people get rewarded for being popular?
You become an authority.
because you have a lot of people's attention. And so I'm just setting this up. I'm not even giving my opinion on whether this is good or bad yet. And I mean, I guess it struck my attention. It got my attention when I saw it because I guess DrumTrax, we would be considered influencers with tens of thousands of people following us on each platform that we have, and so it's just kind of like, okay, yeah, I see, I'm looking at it and I'm interested in what he's saying, and I've had my own thoughts about it. So yeah, that's kind of the setup. Is it bad that we have an age of social media where you can become popular, although you may not have any real world experience playing gigs in a real musical setting in public in front of people on a stage? All you do is be in your basement playing, or all you do is make content for social media.
That is the stage.
I guess that right. That's an argument, right? That is the stage now. That's the stage.
I'm kind of not mad at it because it's just how things have progressed.
Right. That is a thing. So, but I guess you asked the question. So like the influencers of the past, right? When I think of influencers, they weren't called influencers in the past, but when we think of influencers of the past, I kind of think of drummers that you would see in the magazines, right? Because the magazines had the power to do what social media does now. Modern Drummer, and all of the festivals that they used to put on back in the day, right? And the platform that they had, and websites for me when I was in high school, like drummerworld.com, was a platform that introduced me to a lot of things. The DVD makers, those who were making Hudson Music and DCI, I think it was. DCI and Hudson Music, I don't know if they were separate and then came together. However that worked, They were making educational DVDs and things like that from who? From famous drummers who played pop stuff. But we all know that the reality is that the majority of drummers or musicians in general who learn how to play didn't learn from a famous teacher.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Most of us
get the DVDs and learn.
Right.
Learn
and influenced by these people who are doing great things. Nothing wrong with that. But we also know that like drummers, musicians, as we learn from people who were around us. We learn from records if they weren't around us, right? And some people were lucky enough to be around some of the greats that we consider greats now. But most of the time, we weren't learning from influencers, right? But again, this is not, I'm just saying a reality of what the past was versus what things are right now. I have not given my opinion yet on whether I think it's good or bad, but I am curious from you guys to know, do you think that the rise of influencers is good? Do you feel like it's bad? Do you feel like there's an in-between? What's your feelings about it in general?
I don't think it's good or bad. It just is. That's where we are in our evolution. This is the thing that reaches the masses. And now it's like, shout out to Guitar Center. It's like what the drum off used to be. Like the drum off was like dope cats that you actually had access to. You're not getting access to Dennis Chambers unless you buy the DVD, right? I mean, you're talking about when we're coming up. But
that was when I was growing up. I have never met Dennis Chambers ever in my life, but I was influenced by his playing through the DVD. Not even any records or any live performances that he ever did, because I didn't hear about Dennis Chambers at all in my life until that DVD or the VHS tape.
But also,
right.
All those influences that all of us are getting, we're able to influence each other, which is why I referenced the drum off, because at the drum off, I see you at the drum off and it's like, oh snap, he's raw. Hey homie, what's your number? And we share.
Right, now they connect. But he was good before that.
Yeah, he was
not
good
not that this connection wasn't going to be meaningful and that he wasn't going to get better,
he was
already.
But it's a more localized influence, and I think that's kind of what social media does. It's a more localized influence, even if it's not somebody that you're geographically next to. It's somebody that you can DM. It's somebody that you might be able to hop in their masterclass. It's somebody that you might be able to exchange ideas with, or if they're close to you, or if you like, oh snap, you're in LA, I'm gonna be in LA. Let's link up. Whatever. Social media is just this thing that is just another platform, or however they're calling it now, to just connect people. And I don't know. I think it's kind of dope that it happens. I don't know if it's good or bad, but I think it's kind of dope because it gives you a wider sphere of and easier access to different things.
Okay.
I think it gives more power to people as individuals, whereas, in the age of the DVDs and the VHS tapes or whatever, it's like you had to get someone had to let you in.
Yes,
the keys to the kingdom.
You had to go through a gatekeeper.
The record labels.
Yeah.
Whoever.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it's flipped because, and I saw the comedian Country Wayne talking about that because he built himself up on social media.
Yes.
And then he crossed over and now he's like kind of a big star. But he's basically saying like, don't expect to just like go to Hollywood and get in a movie and now you're a star or something. You kind of have to become a star first and then they notice you, and it's the same in music. It's flipped because they used to have all the power and then they would let you in their club, and then make you famous. But nowadays it's on you to kind of make yourself famous, or at least there's so many more famous people nowadays,
right.
Fame has changed, but it's you have the power literally to sit in your bedroom and tap into millions of people if you do it right, and then you can get noticed by bigger corporate machinery that might be able to help take your career to an even bigger level if you want, but at that point you might not even need them,
Right. And so I guess some of the arguments that I've heard from other people, and I've not just that post that I saw on Instagram, there's been other posts where, I think there was a post, the drummer Greg Hutchinson, he was going in on a video that he saw about a drummer, and he was ranting about flurries, but I think at least that's what he was calling it. Somebody taught a drum lesson on YouTube or something that was going around and getting a lot of attention about a specific type of drum fill, whatever he was teaching in. There's an older school of musicians that came up through the gatekeeping age, I guess.
Right. Right.
And there's a lot of things, because there's no gatekeeper. The only drawback, I guess, the argument would be is that now everything is coming through, and there are people who are influenced by things that some of the people who came up through the gatekeeper age would say is not right.
Yeah, like they more got by on their, they're good at social media.
Yeah, their ability to market.
And then they might be spreading bad information.
Right. And there's people who are doing very well financially and making good money teaching or being an influencer online, teaching a music that they don't actually play live.
And they might not be that good at it.
And they may not be that
but
good.
But they're good at getting followers.
But they're exactly.
The people that are watching them are beginners, so they don't know that person doesn't really know what they're talking about, or they're not good,
or doesn't have the real world experience. And so that's the argument that I've, and again, this is me still just relaying things that I've seen and trying to steel man everyone's position and understand that, like, okay, this is where this person is genuinely coming from, not saying it's right or wrong, and this is where this person is genuinely coming from, not saying it's right or wrong. But it's an interesting thing because I can see from both sides. Like, I do think it's a generally good thing that to be successful in music as a musician, or to make a career doing the art form that you love, that you don't have to have someone's permission to let you in, that you can start trying. I think that is a good thing. I do understand, though, the other side of someone saying, well, yeah, but you got these people shaping culture now. You got these people that don't actually do the thing in real life, or that are not actually that great at the thing, shaping the culture of a generation, telling people that this is what this is.
I think it's worse when they're like teaching. Then it's kind of like you wish there was more gatekeeping because because the people who I think are offended or get offended are people who don't just play the music, but they live that life. Like when you think of music like jazz, for instance, it's not just music you play. And it is music you play, but there's like the people who came up in it, who are actually masters at it, the people who are really in it. It's a whole culture. It's a whole way of, you know what I'm saying? Like hip hop wasn't just music. Hip hop wasn't just rap. Hip hop was an entire culture. Yeah, it's a community.
It's a whole
interactive
thing.
You got to be out there,
right? And so there's certain people who are like, yeah, you're teaching these notes. You're teaching this
a
thing.
chop or a riff.
Yeah,
or
you're like, and even if you look at gospel music, the way that it's played and the things that are, it's not just the notes and the music. It's this whole thing that people live their entire lives around.
Yeah, it's a feeling and it's a lifestyle.
And so I can understand someone who lives in a particular world, look at someone who may not be in that world, teaching other people about how to do the thing and feeling like, wait, bro, you're not even...
You haven't even actually been there in the trenches.
You're not in this world, bro. Like, I'm in this world and I'm telling you that's not right.
Yeah.
Okay, you're talking about notes. Yeah, we all play paradiddles. Yeah, we all play the scale. But like,
that run.
But that's not enough to make you be in this world. But you're influencing everyone and it's just not the reality of... But again, is that reality changing, though, because of the internet?
It hasn't changed that much. And here's what I'm going to say that. It's commerce. So it ain't nothing but commerce. So when you got a endorsement deal, if you're playing Dennis Chambers, if you're playing everywhere, now you got an endorsement with DW. I don't know who he plays with, but whatever. DW and Zildjian. And you influence people. The reason why DW and Zildjian gave you that is because they want people to buy the product.
Right.
90% of the people that buy the product are never going to play on stage. They're going to play in their garages. They're going to play in their homes. Now we're just dealing with people who can play a bit in their homes with a camera saying, hey, this is what I'm doing. Yeah. Check this out. And people are influenced by that instead of being influenced by the person on the stage. And the corporation is like, wait a minute, so I can just give it to you, and instead of me waiting for you to go on tour,
you can do it from your house.
Make a video. And not only that, it's a rumor, or you just hear, you tell me, oh, I heard Dennis Chambers plays DW. Whereas the dude that's in his house making the video, he says, I play DW.
And he's giving you a demo of how these drums sound every day.
And he tells you exactly which one.
Click on this link to order it.
So it's a commerce thing. And in that way,
to the consumer.
Yeah, in that way, it's kind of built. That's how it gets built up so much in the same way. But you get sifted out if you are playing. Like, I can sit back and listen to somebody online and be like, oh, that's lit. And then I come to play with you at a gig and I do this, and you just look at me like you're looking at me right now. And then I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I can't do that. Like, that's not what this is actually about. So the people that are actually out there doing it, it'll get sifted, and the people that are influencers are what they are. They just threw the influencer tag on it and to make themselves feel good.
So let me ask you this. Do you think that influencers or musician influencers are actually shaping the culture? Or do you think that they're still, let me preface it this way. Do you think that the influencers are actually shaping the culture, or do you think that there's still a localized system in places where people play music that adds the checks and balances to appropriately help that musician place what they have learned or whatever they're picking up?
I think that like the culture is being like the people that are actually going out there and playing are getting shaped by the culture of the people they're playing with, the actual thing that we're doing as musicians,
right.
like the lifestyle, like you were talking about I think that maybe those those influencers online, like, they might be, influencing a lot of like weekend warriors or people that just play for fun and stuff like that. But it's like, once you get out there and play for real, you're going to get shaped by the culture of the people you're actually playing with, not just what's online, Yeah. They only have so much reach,
Yeah. I mean, and it makes sense because when you're playing out in the real world, it's a different environment than when you're playing online or when you're, doing things. Even when you of course, we all grew up in an era where we weren't learning online at that time. We were learning from records and whatever things, which is one of the things that I try to push heavily on DrumTrax, is to teach all these musicians, like, hey, you may learn this exercise, you may learn this pattern, but you're learning these exercises and these patterns for the specific reason of just having facility and being able to physically do some of the things that you're going to want to do. However, you need to go listen to record. Here's a list of records.
Actual records.
Listen to these.
Yeah.
Here's a list of recordings of the masters doing it, so that you can hear the context and pay attention to the nuances of why they were, you know what I'm saying?
Because that's what really shapes culture, is like artistic works.
Yes.
That's what people really listen to.
And so that's the thing that's the thing that people are upset about, or that I've heard people be upset about. I was like, well, these guys, they're teaching this and this and that. They're not on any recording. Or they're teaching this and this and that. They haven't performed ever. Or they haven't performed in I don't know how. Like, how can they teach what they're teaching or say what they're saying or give any advice if they have no real world experience?
But there are aspects that we did too. Like, there are a lot of session players that we studied that didn't really play a lot live.
But there are recordings.
The people
that shaped, and these recordings shaped the way people played live.
And the people that are on social media are shaping the way that people play live.
I guess that's true. True.
Because now we don't have just arena tours and big things. We have virtual. So far.
Yeah, we do.
We have virtual. So like a lot of the people that are doing social media stuff, if you want to see some of that live, and I don't know if this is true or not, but I'm assuming like some of that stuff is what you might see at So Far or like more intimate type shows like that, as opposed to you're not going to see that dude from shout out to the homie that you turned us on to, the drummer in LA.
Which one?
Brian Evans.
Brian Evans.
I've been following him.
Oh my gosh, he's the greatest.
I love it because he just talk about slander, man. That
Boy,
just goes in on everybody.
That brother's fiery for sure.
And I think I finally saw some footage of him playing like a gig or two somewhere.
Was it great? It was probably great.
I don't remember, but
he's always shedding with people out in some random park or something.
Yeah,
I love that.
The parking lot somewhere. But I say that to say he's a heavy influence on how people play, but he's actually good. Like, so not everybody that's an influencer is necessarily bad.
Right. No, that's a fact. And I do think that social media is a great thing. This is my personal opinion now. I think that social media is great for the fact that now you can earn an income online doing what you love without having to be forced to compete with 10,000 musicians that play your instrument, because there's more musicians than that. But like if you go to LA, there's 10,000 musicians trying to get a spot on a tour or on a gig, and there's only 50 gigs. But there's 10,000 musicians. I don't know these numbers are not accurate, but the ratio that I'm giving you drives the point home.
Yeah.
It's a depressing ratio.
There's 10,000 musicians trying to get a gig. There's only 50 gigs available. It is literally impossible for all of those musicians to land a gig because they all play the same instrument and they don't need that many of you. And so statistically, it doesn't matter how good you are sometimes. It's impossible for everyone to get a gig. But now because of the internet, you can find your little corner of people who support what you do and make an income. So I think that's phenomenal. Period. Then when it comes to whether or not that person is skilled or whether or not that person is saying the right things or whether I don't really worry about that much because it'll show after a while if you don't have deep roots.
You're gonna fizzle out pretty quick.
It'll show like, oh, okay, you're not rooted in anything that's worthwhile. It can't last because you don't have that much to offer. You won't bear that much fruit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But if you're a person, but hey, you may be a person that starts off with that doesn't have deep roots, but you stay grinding, and after 5 years of being online, you're not the same person that you were when you started. That can happen too. You can grow, but a lot of times you don't see people's growth, especially back in the day when there was no social media. You didn't see anyone's growth. You saw them once they were already grown.
Right.
And so nowadays you get to see people's growth. And I understand, like I said before, I understand the other perspective, the other side of people feeling like, I live this life. I'm in this world. I've done this. I've done that. I don't know why you guys are listening to this type of thing. But my whole thing is I'm okay with people trying to learn how they can, loving and liking what they like, because everybody don't like the same thing. Everybody's not going to be into jazz. Everybody's not going to be into hip hop. Everybody's not going to be into rock or whatever genre. But for the people that are into it, like I said in a previous podcast, just dive deep. Don't just stick with whatever you're learning from. A good teacher is going to point you back to the source. A good teacher is going to tell you like, yeah, this is a pattern. This is a rudiment, but check out how these guys used it, because this is really, you know what I'm saying? Like we all play multiple instruments, right? So if I'm playing the piano and we're all going to learn, if you play the piano, you're going to learn a major scale. You're going to learn what the triads are. Those are things that you're going to know. But what you want to do is find out how the people who played the stuff that you're trying to play played it. You want to know how the masters actually use the tools that we all are given. And then you can, at that point, that to me, so I feel like a good influencer, a good teacher always does that, but that doesn't mean that you can't learn this pattern or that you can't pick up this piece of vocabulary or whatever and try to integrate it into your playing. I don't think that those things are bad. So I know that there's a lot of people who demonize, oh man, they're just teaching this lick. Oh man, they're just teaching this pattern, but that's not drumming. I'm like, yeah, but like, I understand what you're saying, but this is social media. We can't teach the entirety of everything in a 60-second clip. You can't.
Well, and that's part of like what I don't like about it is that everything is like snippets now. You know, we just live in a snippet culture.
Except for but I agree and I disagree, because that's not everything. That's Instagram. That's
true.
TikTok.
True.
On YouTube, there's longer form. And however, like even when you watch a DVD from back in the day, when you watch the Dennis Chambers in the Pocket VHS or the Serious Moves, or if you watch Dave Weckles stuff or any of Vinnie Colaiuta, like they're not teaching you everything there is to know about drumming.
Right.
It's about a thing.
Yeah, it's
you know
about one little thing.
But you have to know that is a piece of it. That is something, depending on where you are in your drumming, that you learn. So like if you're a drummer and you're trying to learn how to build your chops and you're trying to learn how to be great at improvising and you're trying to learn how to groove or whatever the case you're trying to learn, no, you're not going to learn it all from an Instagram clip or from one video. You're not going to learn it all from one clip. You're not, but you have to know that there is a comprehensive thing. That's why there are sites like ours, and there are other lesson platforms that try to go deeper and teach you more things. That's why when you study with a teacher, you don't learn it all in one lesson.
But
it's a continuum. It takes time.
People that are mad at social media can go, okay, this is a wholesome podcast. Because when you think about what you're saying right now, when you have somebody and it's that 60-second clip, most of the time, if you click on their page, there's a link. More. There's a bunch of other clips that you can go check out. And then there's links to their YouTube. There's links to their Patreon or whatever. You can go and get all the information from. That's
where the more in-depth stuff.
Yeah, you can
and
go
if they don't
in
have
depth.
that, it's probably not going to last for them,
And
all they have is the snippets.
And on top of that, if you start
roots.
following that page, the algorithm of Instagram, if I start following Sam, is going to link me up to Courtney. If I start following Courtney, it's going to link me up to Damani. If I start following Damani, it's going to link me up to somebody. It's going to link me up to Eric Moore. It's going to link me up to, so it's vast, and you can kind of pick and choose your teacher in that way. I like the way Damani talks. Okay, let me click on this thing and see. Oh, DrumTrax app. Go download it, you beezy. I'll get that. So,
but at the end of the day, to me, it's not. Social media is not vastly different from the past. It is, but it's not. The difference is that now there's no gatekeeper. But again, when you went to take lessons back in the day, or if you went to school, or anything you learn about music from anyone on a local level or on social media, you're not going to learn everything at once. You can't learn everything at once. But the beautiful thing about being offline and online, because offline you can surround yourself in the culture. You can surround yourself in the environment of it. Now, if you're online and you have decided that you want to be a musician, and there's a certain style that you're trying to learn or whatever it is, or you're just interested, you actually have the ability to browse many styles, browse many things, and find what you love. And then you also have the ability to once you find what you like, to create that environment around you where you have access now more than before to surround yourself with the actual recordings, Spotify, Tidal, Apple Music, whatever you use, you can now have access to more than anybody ever had in the past before. And you can go check out the people who are actually doing it. You don't have to go to these concerts because they're in other places in the world, but you can see them on social media. So you still can create that environment, but to put the responsibility on each individual influencer to be the end-all, be-all of everything that has to do with every aspect of whatever it is that they're talking about in each clip is nonsensical to me. And so I think that it is a responsibility of those who are learning, and hopefully you have a good influencer that follows you that says, hey, you might not just want to follow me. I'm giving you my perspective on what I've learned from the greats, and whether it be from direct learning from the greats or through their recordings. I'm giving you my experience, and this is my perspective on it. And there's other perspectives, you know what I'm saying? And you can learn from all of it, but you're typically always wanting to point back to the source, in my opinion. So
straight like that. So social media influence is lit.
It's
except
good,
for the
it's
snippet
bad,
aspect.
I think everyone needs to have personal responsibility and guiding, because that's what the internet. There's so much information on the internet. It's up to you to sift through and find what stuff is right.
That's the hardest part, actually, these days. It's like there's so much, which you would think would be, oh, that's a great thing, and it really is. But I think it's overwhelming for a lot of people.
Yes.
You know, it's like, where do you start? But hey, my 9-year-old daughter's teaching herself how to play piano from YouTube. So
fire.
And she has a piano teacher that happens to be her dad, but she doesn't need me.
Doesn't want you either. She's like, I already know that, Dad. I already know it, right?
It's better that way because she's used to staring at an iPad. So
it's what it is. Well, look, what do you guys think? And how do you feel about it? Let us know in the comments, man. We'll check you guys out on the next one.
Holla.
Peace.
Fam, it's your boy Damani. I hope you enjoyed the video that you just watched, and I hope you liked the video. I hope you left a comment, and I wanted to invite you into DrumTrax Premium. We literally have over 350 drum lessons, over 300 by now, drumless tracks, a community in the private Facebook group of drummers that we go live with and do live drum coaching every single week. We want to help you find your voice and explore your creativity on the drums. We can do that with DrumTrax Premium. You can find the links in the description of this video, and if you're looking for more content, content, you can click one of the videos that are showing up on the screen right now and check them out. All right, fam? I look forward to seeing you in more videos, and I look forward to seeing you in DrumTrax Premium. All right, fam. Peace.